You're in.
Leave those seats for you.
Yes, please. It's not the prettiest. I reckon we should have it up there. Look. Hello, everyone. Good morning. But the staff might not want to get in, might they? We'll do it this way. It's fine.
Well, the thing is, once they're doing the food, at least we're out the way.
Well, yeah, please. Oh, we're going to sit on the tall one now. Morning, everyone. We're going to do. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, you could have done some airbrushing. Jesus Christ. Oh my life. I look practically psychotic. Oh, I don't want to see that ever again. Oh my God. Go on, go on. That's it, just to tilt it up a bit.
Oh, go on.
Oh, how awful is that, everyone? Look at that one. That's better. Oh, I've already had that, actually. I had it in Brazil. I must bring those up. Good morning, everyone. We're just sort of setting up for TERFtalk Live. I think people will be getting some food. So, hello, good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. If I can ask, fingers on lips. Jean from Aberdeen. Thank you very much indeed. That's really nice. Thanks a lot. Huh?
Nothing too heavy. Nothing too heavy.
Nothing too heavy. I'm not gonna sit on it. It's like some sort of nightmare.
Save for the next demonstration. See when we walk up to the trannies. We should all put one of them on as we walk.
Yeah, but that one's all right. That one's quite nice. Someone's done a bit of airbrushing on that. There's one that I look demonic. Good gracious. Don't wear it on your bum. Oh my gosh. Okay, good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to TERFtalk Live. Hi. Right, okay, so I'm going to request. Thank you. Oh, don't wear that one. That is by far the worst one. I look almost as bad as that guy who was doing the cabaret yesterday. Okay. Hello. I will just wait until the excitement has died down from these demonic face masks. Okay, so it was an interesting day yesterday, everyone. So I'm going to talk to you, and I'm also going to talk to people watching on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. We would do TikTok, but I'm semi-banned. So yesterday, we had a very interesting experience where, due to your thoughts, we weren't allowed to continue in that venue. And I've watched loads of the footage back, and I'll just describe to people at home what happened. So he didn't like I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is. That was one of the main things he didn't really like, and I can't quite get my head around that. But what we do know is that we were followed to the place, and I'm just watching these stuff. We were followed to the place, which was uncomfortable and filmed, and I think that's why it all happened. And it was someone from Hate Not Hope. I think that's what they're called, Hate Not Hope. So that was like just deeply troubling. And then we had other people coming into the private event to take photos and footage, which I also think is deeply troubling. And we're in a very scary place, I think, generally, where women are just self-censoring and quite concerned. It's like every time I go away, I'm thinking, will I be allowed to stay in this hotel for just sticking up for women's rights in a way that I think everybody knows, everybody already agrees that, like, no matter what you think of the whole issue, most people agree that vulnerable women deserve a place to be without men. And I don't think any rational, reasonable person who's ever thought about the issue thinks anything else. So that's what's quite scary. And I'm even self-censoring in this place because you don't want to put anyone in a position where they feel that they can't serve you just for speaking the truth. So I'm being quite careful. I don't want to implicate someone, and that in itself is just mind-blowing that's where we are. I mean, if I was in my studio at home, I'd be saying all sorts of things about that man yesterday. I might be sort of saying that it was like Kenneth Williams had been dug up without a personality. I might have said that. I might have said that about him. I might have called him, when we were in the room with the police, I might have called him a slippery, slimy piece of shit. I might have done that, and I might have told the police that Scotland is royally fucked. In fact, I did say that, and then I said much worse in the foyer. But fortunately for everyone, they switched off the Wi-Fi. I don't know if you all noticed, but they switched off the Wi-Fi, which meant there were some places that you couldn't actually even broadcast. And then there was a young woman that I said, why are you taking pictures of women? Why are you taking pictures of women? And she looked very afraid. Not used to being challenged are these young people. And I just was I got it recorded, just in case she sort of starts saying anything. She goes, well, you're recording me. I was like, this is a public place. That was a private event. And there are many reasons why women don't want their faces out there when they're in a private event. All sorts of reasons, from sort of hiding from someone who caused them serious harm in domestic violence or losing their jobs. And she just had a permanent look of, I didn't eat the chocolate cake, with like chocolate cake all over her face. You know, like when you catch your 4-year-old and you're like, did you take that biscuit? No. But she looked very frightened, which I also thought was interesting, that she knew she was doing something really wrong when she did it, but she felt morally virtuous, and that actually it doesn't really matter what she does because she doesn't agree with the women in that room. So she has every right, she's entitled to do whatever she wants. And I think that's where we are, so it's quite scary. So anyway, with all that in mind, I genuinely didn't know this was going to be a room with a bar. If anybody would like to talk on camera in this venue, they can. And if you don't, I think that will be a message in itself that is quite fine and dandy, and we'll eat our bacon sandwiches. But there's always an air of something, suspicion, I think, when women gather and speak, especially in hushed tones. And how are we all feeling about that? Are you feeling it? Yes. Yeah. It's odd, isn't it? Yeah. It's really, I don't want to make any comparisons with other issues that are going on in this country, but they are comparable. They are really comparable, that we're in a space. Yeah.
There was some comments on X, Twitter, saying, well, why did they go there? Surely they should know this was going to happen.
And why did we go to Glasgow Uni?
I don't agree with that, but what's your thoughts on that?
So the question is, why did we choose that venue? Well, because it's big and it's spacious and it's affordable. And we were reuniting after the last Glasgow event, which was pretty phenomenal, and I think actually changed the course of Nicola Sturgeon's career. You're welcome. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh, that's a good idea. So it was chosen because there shouldn't be places that you can't go and have a social gathering as women in this country. Like there's any group of people, like even people I fundamentally disagree with. I've heard that they've had very successful nights out in that particular venue, and if anyone has ever had an event at Glasgow University where they put up some posters, if you'd like to send me pictures of any of those, that'd be amazing. Because I think, I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is. It's probably not the most offensive thing that's ever been put on their walls. But it's a place steeped in history of people making speeches that went against the grain, like quite rightly went against the grain. That's how history's made. It's not made by everyone sat in a room agreeing and silencing people. That's ridiculous. And if we're disagreed with, which we are, I mean, the other people are wrong, but if we're disagreed with, then I welcome the debate. Like, I just welcome it. So, people can say, oh, you shouldn't go there. Like, really? You're going to say that a group of middle-aged, predominantly, apologise if you're not, but predominantly middle-aged women, are we honestly going to say that there is, what's this?
What they were like a few years ago.
So, welcome Clark, who isn't my biggest fan, says solidarity after they were banned from Glasgow University. I know how that feels. Many years ago, the Glasgow University Union banned the university's gay society, from which I was the chair, from its premises. When we picketed to the GUU, we were attacked. So I guess it has a history of silencing people as well. But look, I think that the job of a venue at any point, or a bar, or a cafe, or a hotel, or a football pitch, or whatever it is to do the job that they're there for, and that's to make money and serve people. That's the best way to make money, is actually to sell things that you're set up for, is to serve the drinks. As long as people aren't being rude or offensive, like as long as people aren't haranguing staff or saying, where's my, like, be quick or whatever. I just don't understand how we've got into this place in this country where in a commercial setting, money isn't the most important thing, because I think it should be. And I did say to that police officer last night, what if I was wearing the Star of David? And I do feel like it's a very similar thing at the moment. I think Jews in this country are being attacked in the most despicable way, and it doesn't matter what you think about the war over there. My concerns are what's happening to Jewish people all over Europe. And I talked about this yesterday, I'm going to say it again. There were 3 musicians speaking Yiddish in an Italian restaurant in Vienna. 3 musicians. And they were then kicked out of that Italian restaurant for being Jews. And we were kicked out last night from a venue for being women who know what a woman is. And I don't want to, I often say I don't want to do this, but I am going to do this. It is the same, actually. It is the same. We are being ousted from venues. We do let women speak in public because venues cancel. Right? I was on my way to New Zealand when the hotel decided to cancel my booking. I've had the police at my door. I've been arrested. I had the police at my door for being untoward about paedophiles. Like, genuinely, that's the words they use, that I was being untoward about paedophiles. And I think we need to get back to a place where people can say even the most offensive things. Like, the men that say that women can have penises and it's fine for men to go and use all spaces and unisex toilets are fine. Those people, like, I fully support their right to speak. I fully support their right to go and have breakfast somewhere, have a venue. They can say the most terrible things if they like. They can, as long as they're not inciting violence or breaking the law. I don't care what they say. They have a right to say it. We have a right to hear it. We have a right to know what they think. And I think that needs to work the other way for women. And so I'm sorry to all of you that didn't get the event that you were looking for last night. But I think you might be in an event that might actually change a little bit of the course of where we are, because I think we are going to have to sue Glasgow University Union. And can I just say, I really don't mind being a hypocrite about crowdfunders. But what I am going to do is I'm going to try every mechanism before we have to get anywhere near that, because I don't want women to have to put their hands in their pockets to uphold our fundamental rights. I think that's absolutely outrageous. So I'm going to be writing to the EHRC. I would implore each and every one of you to do the same. I will give, if you like, I can provide the kind of the, I don't want to provide the structure of the letter even. I just want to give you the bits of the law and the bits of the event that are important. But I think it's very important that you write in your own words as yourselves and what impact that has on you. Because, I mean, there's going to be some news about things that have been happening to me in the next sort of 30 days. And I'm hoping it's going to be news that everybody welcomes. And I certainly do after it must be about 7 years now of harassment. And I had to complain to the police about that. And they kept saying, how did that make you feel? I'm like, well, it doesn't matter how it made me feel. Like, let's say I'm fine with it. And I think, all right, partner. I said, how about that? Someone ringing me up, talking to me about my children. Like, how about I'm okay with that because I think I'm going to get you and you're not going to get me? Or is it much better if I say, well, I cry every night when I go to sleep and I worry that he's going to come around and murder me at night? Like, is that what they need? Because it really annoys me. The person committed a crime. It doesn't matter how that impacts me as a victim. For some victims, it's important that they have their say, right? And I fully support that. If you want to have your say in a court case, you should. But that shouldn't make any difference to how the police treat that perpetrator. Or how the police treat that man that tries to cause harm. Like, his intention is to frighten me and to terrorise me. That's his intention. He said it. I've got a recording of him saying it. That's his intention. Just because I'm not terrorised, in fact, I feel quite murderous, quite frankly. Just because I'm not terrorised, I mean, I had to put like £10,000 security gates on my house because they put pictures of my kids all over the internet. So I'm so angry I could cry. That's how angry I am. Did anyone else want to speak? So I can feel that people don't want to, which is quite understandable in a public place. Do you want to? Can you give?
Could I not go?
No, you can sit right there. Can we have your voice? Is that all right?
Yeah, I'll give you the voice. How do I do it?
Just clip it or just talk into it.
Just talk into it, like that. Okay. I just don't want to protect. I didn't prepare anything, so I don't have anything really profound or clever to say. It's just a story about my mother, so I don't want to be on camera to protect her privacy. So my mother is 78, and she has dementia and Alzheimer's, which I didn't realise are two different things, but they are. And she's recently had to accept carers coming into the house in the mornings to help her get washed and dressed. This was a big step for her, particularly because of her history. So when my mother was young, she had several instances of sexual abuse, not within the immediate family, but within people whom she thought were uncles, but were just family friends. Sorry.
Such an opportune moment coming. Well done.
And you come. And her best friend's father raped her when she was 14, groomed her and raped her, did terrorizing things like invite her to go away into the country with them on a picnic, and it'll be you and your best friend and me and the mother, and then it was only him who would come and take her, and she was trapped. She didn't speak about this for 50 odd years. And in the last few years, she started to talk about it. And part of that was because of the medication they give her for Alzheimer's can bring up dreams and memories from the past. They actually couldn't put her on the optimal dose because she was having such trouble with nightmares, flashbacks. She'd blocked it out her whole life. And when we had to arrange carers coming in for her, she didn't even want a man to come and do the assessment. My mother, she was married until 5 years ago. My father died. She wasn't afraid of men. She had male friends. But as the Alzheimer's has got worse and these memories have come up, she's become more fearful being around men she doesn't know. And I think this is probably common amongst lots of women of that generation who have these traumas they've never spoken about. I used to work in a nursing home. There was a lady there. She always slept at night with a wooden spoon. Even, she was in her 80s. Now, I didn't really understand. I thought it was a quirk at the time. This was 20 years ago, but obviously that was a weapon to her. She couldn't sleep without it. You had to get her into bed, give her a wooden spoon. There's lots of women of that age out there, and like my mother. And the thought that a company would say, this man, this 6-foot-tall man, who says he's a woman, and he would be allowed to go in there when she's at home alone, vulnerable, get her washed, get her dressed. Even if he's not a threat, the stress it puts on her, the fear, the bringing up of memories. That's something I think, I'm sure it's been said before, young women don't understand about this situation, why it's so important that we're able to say, no, I don't want a male carer. I don't want a male whoever, home help, anybody. I don't want a man in a nursing home coming to get me showered or bathed. And it doesn't matter whether that man, particular man, is a threat or not. You should have the right to say, because so many women have these stories in their background, you should have the right to say no. And that's all I wanted to say. And also to say thank you to Kellie-Jay, because I don't know where this whole movement would be without you. You're so effective in your messaging and in social media, and I think we'd be in a lot worse position if there wasn't someone who's brave enough to go and say the unsayable, especially now to do with immigration and the other things that are, I just thank you. I don't have the words to say it, so
Well, thank you.
that's all.
Thanks very much. Oh, thanks. Wow, that was a lie, wasn't it? She said it wasn't going to be profound or she hadn't prepared. Quite mesmerising, so thank you very much. I do think you're right about young women. I think there's I fear that actually the last few years of schooling has killed their boundaries. I don't just think it's the naivety of youth, which I think is a thing where we all think we're totally infallible. Before I had children, I was like, yeah, I can do it all. I'll have a career, I'll have 4 kids, it'll be fine. Everything will just come easy peasy. And then you realise that that's not true at all. You can do half. If you're doing half of anything, you're doing 3/4 of both and you're doing a whole of none. But I also think you're a bit infallible and you wouldn't fall to these things. But these girls have been told right in their most sensitive and embarrassing kind of moments in their teenage years that it's unkind to have boundaries. And I do worry about all of our children. Not only are there's those that have been sucked into the cult. It's pretty profoundly damaging forever, that all the people around you lied, enabled your lies, kind of celebrated you for your lies, that sometimes it's your mother that's actually done it. So there's those children, then there's the friends of those children who either get ostracized, dumped or whatever, then there's other children that just say they pretend to agree with the cult because they can't speak. There's others that do agree with the cult, but actually the fundamental, and then there's those that don't agree but can't speak at school. I'm not allowed an opinion. We'll get cancelled we'll get told off by teachers. All the adults around them are pretending that everything is fine. And I don't know what happens to a society en masse where that's happened to such a large number of kids in schools. Because I remember sitting next to kind of kids, I was pro-choice, there was someone pro-life, you'd have a good argument, oh, you're wrong. Maybe a little bit of a debate around it, and then you'd go and, I don't know, play outside. Go and touch grass. Literally walk in it, climb a tree. You do that sort of thing, or there'd be that guy that talked too much, whereas now these kids that you don't get to be anything out of, they're all out of the ordinary, right? But that you're not allowed to be someone that that doesn't. The worst thing that you can be is non-compliant, especially to those that are compliant, because they hate you for it. They hate you for your non-compliance, because what they hate is themselves, because they are compliant, and you just hold a mirror to the thing that they most hate about themselves, which I find most fun. Would anyone else like to speak off or on camera? Yes, you would, yes. Okay, fine. You can pin it to your top if you want. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Thank you for. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much. Hello.
So thank you, and yeah, you're right, there are women that want to speak and they're not going to speak on camera because we are self-censoring, and I would have said this yesterday, but I couldn't say it on camera. So I want to talk about equality networks within employment settings, and I have to choose my words very carefully, and I'm self-censoring at the moment. I want you, everyone in this room, to think about, do you have an employment network in your workplace? Is it LGBT or is it LGBT+? I want you to ask, who are the plus? Is it queer, intersex, asexual, zoophiles, adult diaper community? Who is the plus? Ask why the plus is included in an employment network. Look at what underpins the equality networks being in existence in the first place. Do they base it on the Equality Act 2010? If so, I want you to inform them that For Women Scotland versus Scottish Ministers Supreme Court judgment clarified who the LGBT are, and the plus are not included. Q, I, A, non-binary, etc. Well, they might be important identities to some people, but they're not protected by the Equality Act 2010. A network within an employment setting should be grounded in employment law. In other words, the Equality Act 2010. This is particularly important if you work in a publicly funded body, because the public purse is being used to promote things that are not protected in law that are working against you and your interests at your work. It doesn't matter if you're LGB yourself, it doesn't matter if you're part of the network or if you're not part of the network for whatever reason. If you work there, you have a right to know what's going on within these networks. These networks have an opportunity to review policy and guidance that negatively impacts you in a way that you do not have opportunities. So I want to look at your LGBT network. Its terms of reference, its terms of service. Ask questions and tell them that activism doesn't belong in the workplace.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Fine if not. Look, we all had a bit of a... It's all exciting what happened yesterday, but I do think it does have a bit of a chilling effect. And then you get a little bit worried the next day about who's listening. And it's only going to get worse, because we're going to bring in that you have to protect your staff's feelings, and there's new laws coming in that means that you can just get turfed out. I think it's a law to kill the pub, because the pub is a place where the working class like to gather together and talk about what their rights might be and what their lives are like. And I think it's just another way of trying to destroy British life for the people that actually... Do you remember on those Thursdays when people go out and clap at 8 o'clock for all the people that kept the country running? Well, apparently we don't actually care about those people at all. We couldn't give a shit about those people that kept the deliveries, those people that kept the country going when most of us, or many of us, were getting pissed at 2 o'clock every day on Prosecco. Put me off Prosecco, so there is that. But when most of us were kind of enjoying, and do you remember those blue skies during that COVID time? It was really hot summer, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I sometimes think, could they have done that to us if it was a normal summer? Like if it was a normal, cloudy, miserable summer, could they have done that to us? I don't think so. So it was a nice hot summer, and we all clap for these people, but actually when it comes down to it, those people we don't care about. We don't care. We don't care that they don't have a place to go and let off steam. We don't care that most of the pubs in the country are closing or have closed. These are all like places of the community. And obviously with other kind of, you know, if you build a super mosque, you're not probably going to get a license to build a new pub or open a new bar nearby. So there's all ways of attacking the working class, because ultimately that's what this is. It's a war on the working class, and it's just a way of saying, hey, look over here while we destroy your lives. But anyway, it's a subdued turf talk today. Join in tomorrow. Do tune in, where I'll be swearing like swearing and shouting like a fishwife from home, and talking through and showing some video footage that maybe you haven't seen about exactly what happened yesterday. And Brindees is the one with so much of the footage that I'll be sharing. She was quite meticulous, and where my stuff was failing, Mary.
Gratitude.
No, when my stuff was failing, like when I thought I'd press record and recorded his conversation where he talked
Flat
about beliefs and
batteries.
opinions. Oh no, I must have anyway. But we do have she's got it all. So we've got him breaking the law and discriminating against women. So woohoo! But anyway, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.